Welcome back to the channel, A.R.T.'s Real Repairs for Real Customers, the one reality show that's really real. We have a compilation of videos that have got lost by the wayside in the shuffle of our video presentations and some updates. The first one is an update on how to hold the needle, the curved needle that is. We have a closer look at the expression half the fold when stitching. Also, we have a part involved in a BMW door pull repair. We're going to take a look at some carpet inlays, a look at shaving sport cloth. We're going to look at an instance where metal is cutting through the fabric. That's a common occurrence in some vehicles. And lastly, an update on the steering wheel, the leather steering wheel inserts. A few updates on that can help you. All of those coming at you right now. In a recent class, a new student, Frank, asked me when holding the curved needle, what am I doing with the rest of my fingers? Great question. Here you go. Until that question, I didn't realize there was a better way to describe holding the needle. I had focused on holding the needle in the curve of my forefinger with the thumb supporting it from below. But what about the rest of the fingers? Well, I came to realize that I was pinching the end of the needle between my middle finger and my thumb, giving support on the end. So there are then two anchor points, one with the thumb and middle finger and one with the index finger and the thumb. You will discover that the tip of the needle becomes an extension of your finger, and you'll have feeling there, and you can sense when your needle is penetrating the fabric and going between two layers. Now, when you're ready to exit the fabric, your hand is moving in the entire arc of the needle. Therefore, all of the energy is directed at the point. This is the point at which the needle acts like a hot knife through butter. Hand stitching can be very frustrating until you get the knack of holding the needle properly. It might be as frustrating as trying to teach me how to swing a golf club properly. It probably is not going to happen anytime soon. But I could imagine that once you develop that, you'll have a good game. I think the same thing is true with holding the needle correctly when hand stitching, especially as in the following video where we need to slide the needle between two layers of leather on a fold. I have had to start my stitch here in order to gradually come around a hole in the leather in this bolster here. I have one stitch line going around the hole and the other stitch line coming halfway in the fold, in between the two layers of leather. I am not bringing everything back together until I'm past this area where the leather is worn almost through. So even though I have stolen half the width of the fold has stretched out where I've stitched it, and so it's continuous throughout the whole panel. As part of the class, this is Frank's very first hand stitching job for a real repair for a real customer. Again, gradually around the huge damage on the one side and half the fold on the other, traveling between the two layers of the fold. Congratulations, Frank! Your first repair is without rival in the repair community, and it really showcases our half the fold concept. It's great fun. Next up is this BMW parts replacement. Sometimes parts are not really repairable, and a replacement is very affordable. This simply pries off, as you see. Trying not to distort the clips too much, but sometimes it happens. Here I'm replacing a couple of the clips that removed with the plastic panel. And here, just bending back the clip that straightened out when we pulled the old part off. And that's about it. We'll pound that new part home, and it's easy as that. And the replacement part has such a nice look to it. And here's a good look at the old part. Some vehicles feature a carpet inlay to give a finished look, such as this door panel. So can we use the same thing on this console, on this older car? It happens to be that I had a Bounty towel available to make a template. Whatever you have handy. And we'll just breeze through this easy concept. So that's pretty reasonable where a carpet once lived, but what if there was not carpet originally in a console piece? It could be that there's super glue in a rib design like this and you don't feel like repairing it would be beneficial. So why not we just make a carpet bottom for this console? Well, your customer may not have had this repair in mind, but that's what's on the menu today. And the overall look looks like it fits. Well, there's not much to discuss about this one, just thought we'd throw it out there so it got mentioned. So much of the time we see damages in vinyl and leather and even cloth that's caused by metal poking through. The foam gets worn out and the sharp metal cuts every time. We can put some hot glue, which is melted plastic, over top of the metal. And that way the foam will stick to the metal right there and it won't move away. Same on the other side, and same in every one of these vehicles. And that provides a fine base for our repair material, and that repair will be destined to hold up. Consider this next segment an update to video 86, which was the leather steering insert, the seam-to-seam method. This is the way you can restore a steering wheel to its OEM condition. And these updates are specific aspects that we haven't focused on previously. This Chevrolet is our patient in the emergency room. I have clamped the leather insert like this so that I can punch through both sides at the same time. And to do the layout, I have a tape measure with a sticky side. So this would be a handy tape measure to stick down to a work desktop. This one, I'm happy to just hold it in place and stick it down to the table or stick it onto the leather. And you can get the tape either imperial or metric. So as you might imagine, this is quite handy for marking out centimeters on your leather on one side, and that way when you fold it over as we saw first, then you can just punch through both sides. We never showed adding foam to our leather, but here you can certainly add some, just keep it slightly in from our punched holes. And spray adhesive out of a can works fine. And I was done within 2 hours with all of the interruptions I get having to estimate for other jobs. Okay, let's now take a quick look at this installation on a Jeep steering. First thing we want to pick is the correct grain or texture of the leather. Second is color. We can always color it. Remember that for the inside and outside length, we add for seam allowance. Here it's stripped to the rubber core. No need for extra foam on this one. The first hole we're punching is in the center, and we're making a line because that's where our stitch will start, in the center. Just like this. And if you recall, it took me a few years to be able to do these factory ends, but boy, it's sweet when you get it. I hope you found those suggestions helpful. At least they will be sometime in the future, I feel sure. It feels good to get some of those older clips out there for you, and rest assured we have a backlog of videos that we're going to try to get out all that we can. Of course, we're very busy here, and it's difficult to get them out as often as we wish. But I promise you we'll have more creativity to come. Thanks for watching. See you next time.